Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know a lot of you are super hyped about Castorice, especially considering how stunning she looks. If you're here, you probably want to know everything about her kit, playstyle, and whether she's worth pulling for. Well, lucky for you, you've stumbled upon the perfect video because today I'm breaking down all the latest information we've got on Castorice. I'll also be sharing some speculations regarding her overall playstyle and what characters she might need to shine. I've gathered every bit of information available so far, but remember, since this info comes from multiple sources, take it with a grain of salt because things might change upon release. Also a small disclaimer, since interestingly, it seems no leaker is willing to reveal her kit in full detail, possibly because of concerns about the community's reaction. So please try to take everything as a speculation, nothing more. That said, let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right in. First off, Castorice is going to be a quantum-type unit following the path of remembrance. She's expected to serve as the main DPS in your team. For those curious about her release date, if everything stays on schedule, her first limited banner will go live on the 3.2 patch. And here's a little bonus. Mr. Rika, a 4-star remembrance healer, will also be dropping in the first half of patch 3.2, according to Uncle Hellgirl. Perfect timing if you plan to pull for Castorice because trust me, you're going to need some healing support. Moving on to her kit. Although the exact details of her abilities are still under wraps, reliable sources suggest that her basic attack is fairly standard. The real highlight, however, lies in her dragon, Pollux, who also doubles as her memo sprite. That's right, she summons a massive dragon, and if you've been keeping up with the teasers, you've probably seen hints of Pollux making appearances already. Now, based on what we've gathered so far, Castorice seems to have a pattern where her attacks scale with the number of enemies she's facing, potentially hitting 1, 3, or even 5 enemies depending on whether it's her basic attack, skill, or Pollux's attack. There's also speculation about her technique. Apparently, upon entering battle, she consumes the entire team's HP, gains advance action, and pushes Pollux's action forward by 100%. If this turns out to be true, it could make for a pretty aggressive opening move, but also raises some big questions about survivability. Now, I know there have been some leaked details floating around about her abilities, but honestly, they're pretty questionable. So, I'm not going to include them in this video. However, if you're curious and want me to cover those leaks in detail, just let me know in the comments, and I can make a separate video for that. Castorice boasts impressive versatility, capable of dealing substantial damage in both AoE and single-target situations. This flexibility makes her a strong contender across various game modes. In single-target scenarios, she's expected to thrive in Memory of Chaos, especially against tough bosses. On the flip side, her powerful AoE abilities make her an excellent choice for modes like Pure Fiction, where dealing with waves of enemies is key. Interestingly, Apocalyptic Shadow, a mode that fuses elements from both Memory of Chaos and Pure Fiction, seems tailor-made for her, allowing her to showcase her strengths in both damage types seamlessly. Here's where things get really interesting. Castorice is an HP scaling unit, but she breaks away from the usual formula by not relying on traditional energy regeneration. Instead, her special energy is restored through HP changes, similar to how mydei works. What really sets her apart, though, is her ability to drain a significant amount of HP from the entire team while she's active. While this might seem risky at first glance, it actually opens up amazing synergy potential with other HP scaling units like Tribbie, mydei, and even Blade, who thrive with larger HP pools. Now, here's something that genuinely surprised me. Apparently, in recent tests, Castorice has been run alongside Tribbie and mydei in a dual carry setup. Yeah, you heard that right, a team with not 1 but 2 HP draining units. It's definitely an interesting choice, and I can't help but wonder how it's meant to work. Both Castorice and mydei rely heavily on careful HP management, so having them together sounds like it could be a bit of a balancing act with your health bar. It makes me curious if it would be challenging to keep the team stable, even with strong healers. What's even more intriguing is that, according to some sources, there's a special energy system in place to make this setup functional. But honestly, would that really be enough to smooth out the rough edges? It makes me wonder if this is just an experimental phase in testing, or if there's some hidden synergy we haven't fully grasped yet. Maybe there's a genius strategy behind it that'll click once we see it in action. What do you guys think? Could this dual carry, HP draining combo actually work, or is it one of those test server experiments that'll never make it to the final version? Additionally, if Castorice takes a fatal hit, her Memo Sprite, Pollux, will die in her place, clearing her special energy in the process. A unique mechanic that adds an extra layer of strategy when managing her survivability. It's like having an extra life built right into her kit, but with the cost of losing that powerful dragon until her energy's built back up. Her ultimate is particularly fascinating because it doesn't function like most characters. Instead of using energy, it activates once Castorice drains a certain threshold of HP from her entire team. What's more, the lower her HP, the higher her damage output. This creates a high-risk, high-reward playstyle that's both thrilling and fresh. Imagine a scenario where you're almost on the edge of defeat, but that's exactly when Castorice unleashes her most devastating attacks. Honestly, it sounds like a lot of fun. As for her speed, some sources suggest that Castorice herself has a pretty low base speed, while Pollux, her dragon, has moderate speed. This hints that Castorice might play more of a supportive role, focusing on enabling Pollux to nuke enemies. Think of it like how Topaz functions with her summon, Castorice boosts and buffs Pollux, while Pollux handles the heavy damage. The source even mentioned that Pollux's main attack has an effect comparable to C6 Hu Tao. This refers to Hu Tao's C6 that guarantees 100% crit rate under certain conditions. This likely means Castorice will benefit from stacking crit damage, since her crit rate might already be capped through her kit mechanics. When it comes to Relics, the newly released Poet set from patch 3.0 seems like an ideal fit. Its effects are practically tailor-made for Castorice. If the wearer's speed is below 110, it grants a 20% crit rate boost. If the speed drops below 95, that bonus jumps to a whopping 32% crit rate. Since Castorice is expected to have low speed, she'll benefit immensely from this set. Additionally, patch 3.1 will introduce a new planar set design to complement her playstyle. This set increases crit damage by 28% if the wearer's HP exceeds 5,000 and provides a 12% HP boost, which synergizes perfectly with her HP scaling mechanics. Considering all these buffs, Castorice could easily reach 100% crit rate without much additional investment, allowing players to focus on maximizing her crit damage. Now, let's talk about some hinted light cones for a second because the alleged Castorice's light cones are absolutely gorgeous. The first one features a full moon in the background with a sea of flowers. She's kneeling among them, gazing at the sky with one hand on her chest and the other raised high. The second light cone shows her younger sister, Polluxina, sleeping on her lap, creating a warm, comforting atmosphere. Unfortunately, as of now, that's all we have in terms of information on the Castorice's light cones. No additional details or context beyond what we've just discussed. Hopefully, more will be revealed as time goes on. To wrap things up, Castorice seems like an incredibly fun and unique character. Her high-risk, high-reward playstyle, combined with her stunning design and the badass dragon Pollux, makes her an absolute must-pull for me. I mean, come on, she's gorgeous and commands a giant dragon. What's not to love? I'd love to hear your thoughts on her kit. So drop a comment down below and let me know what you think. As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you in the next one.